Rain poured over the city like falling glass, painting the streets in reflections of red and gold. Jason hurried through the crowd, jacket pulled tight, trying not to be late for his night shift. The storm made everything louder, the rumble of thunder, the hiss of tires, the hum of voices blending together. He hated nights like this, cold, wet, endless. Then it happened. As he turned a corner, someone collided with him. Papers scattered through the air, carried by the wind like white birds. Jason reached out instinctively, catching a few before they touched the wet pavement. When he looked up, his breath caught. A girl stood before him. Small, delicate, her hair shining strangely under the neon lights. It wasn't dyed, but it shimmered like liquid silver with faint hints of blue. Her eyes were even stranger, deep, calm, and almost too focused, like they could see more than just the world in front of them. "I'm so sorry," Jason said quickly, embarrassed. "I wasn't looking where I was going." She smiled gently, her voice soft and careful. "It's all right. I should have been paying attention too." For a second, their hands touched as they picked up the fallen papers. Her skin was cool, too cool for a human hand, and Jason almost pulled away. But then she looked at him again, and he forgot about it. There was something peaceful about her presence, like standing beside a quiet lake after a storm. When they finished gathering the papers, she tucked them close to her chest. Jason noticed the strange symbols on the pages, lines and circles that didn't belong to any language he knew. "You studying something?" he asked, trying to sound casual. She hesitated before answering. "Just research." That pause was small, but Jason caught it. Something about her tone didn't sound like an ordinary student, yet her smile was warm and her eyes, those impossible eyes, pulled him in. As she turned to leave, Jason called after her, "Hey, wait! You dropped this." He held out a folded paper that had slipped from her folder. She accepted it with a small nod. "Thank you," she said softly. "You're kind." And then she was gone, disappearing into the blur of the rain. Jason stood there for a long time, unsure why he felt so strange. It wasn't just her beauty, there was something else. A feeling that he had brushed against something beyond human, something fragile yet powerful. That night, he couldn't stop thinking about her. Who was she? Why did her name, Lyra, as he later learned, echo in his mind like music he couldn't forget? Days passed, and fate seemed determined to cross their paths again. One morning, as Jason stopped by a small bookstore near his apartment, he froze. There she was, behind the counter, sorting through books with calm precision. She looked up and smiled like she had been expecting him. "You again?" Jason laughed awkwardly. "Yeah, seems the city's not as big as it looks." They talked for a few minutes, awkward at first, but soon the words flowed easily. Lyra was quiet but thoughtful, her words chosen carefully. She listened when Jason spoke, really listened, like every detail mattered, and when she laughed, it was soft and rare like the sound of wind chimes. Still, something about her remained different. When customers entered, she would straighten slightly as if preparing for danger. Her gaze would flicker, calculating. Jason noticed but didn't mention it. He didn't know then that Lyra was hiding something enormous, that beneath her calm smile was a truth that would one day shatter everything he believed about life, love and humanity itself. But that first meeting, that simple, rainy collision was the beginning of everything. Jason didn't believe in destiny, but after that night he started to wonder if maybe, just maybe, the universe had meant for them to meet. Because something about Lyra felt too perfect to be random, and deep inside, somewhere he didn't understand, he felt a quiet voice whisper, "This girl isn't what she seems." Yet instead of fear, Jason only felt curiosity, because sometimes the strangest encounters are the ones that change your life forever. Days turned into weeks, and Jason found more reasons to visit the little bookstore where Lyra worked. Sometimes he pretended to browse, other times he bought books he never planned to read. What truly drew him back was her, the quiet girl with the mysterious smile and the eyes that seemed to hold galaxies. Lyra was always there, sitting behind the counter with a book in her hands. The soft glow of the reading lamp cast gentle light on her pale face, making her look almost unreal. Jason would greet her, and every time she would look up with that same small, calm smile. "Another book today?" she would tease lightly. "Maybe," Jason replied, pretending to look serious, "but only if you recommend it." She would study him for a moment before picking something from the shelf. "This one," she said once, handing him a book about distant worlds and unknown civilizations. He smiled, taking it from her hand. You think I like space stories? Her eyes softened. Everyone looks at the stars and wonders what's out there. Don't you? Jason didn't answer immediately. He looked at her, wondering why her words sounded more personal than they should. Maybe I do, he said finally. Maybe I wonder about the people out there too. She looked away, her fingers tightening around the edge of the counter. Maybe some things are better left unknown. There it was again, that strange distance in her eyes, like she carried something heavy that she couldn't share. Jason wanted to ask, but her expression stopped him. Still, their friendship grew naturally. They began to meet outside the bookstore, coffee after her shift, long walks through the quiet city streets. Lyra liked the night, the calm after the noise faded. Sometimes she would stop and stare at the sky, eyes filled with quiet longing. It's beautiful, Jason said once, standing beside her as they watched the stars. Yes, she whispered. It always is. Something about the way she said it made his heart ache, like she missed something she could never return to. Jason started noticing other small things too. Lyra never seemed cold even in the chilly nights. She didn't eat much, and her sense of smell and hearing were sharper than anyone he knew. Once, when a car almost hit a dog across the street, she reacted faster than humanly possible, darting forward, grabbing the dog just in time. Jason stood frozen. That was, wow, you moved like lightning. She forced a laugh. Adrenaline, maybe. But he saw her eyes, nervous, searching for a way to change the subject. Something was different about her, something she didn't want him to see. Yet the more she tried to hide it, the more he wanted to understand. One evening, after closing the shop, Lyra invited him to help her organize books in the back room. They worked quietly side by side. The small space smelled of paper and rain. When Jason reached for a high shelf, his hand brushed hers. She froze, her pulse quickened, he could almost feel it. Her skin, cool as before, trembled slightly. You're shaking, he said gently. I just don't like being close to people, she whispered. It's not you, it's me. Jason didn't move closer, but his voice softened. It's okay, I get it. We all have things we're scared of. For a moment she looked at him, really looked at him, and something inside her broke just a little. She wanted to tell him the truth then, that she wasn't what he thought she was. But she couldn't. The risk was too high. Instead, she smiled faintly and said, You're kind. Jason, don't ever lose that. That night, when Jason walked home through the empty streets, he couldn't stop thinking about her words. Kindness, fear, secrets. He felt like he was standing at the edge of something bigger than himself, something both beautiful and dangerous. He didn't know what Lyra was hiding, but he knew one thing for sure. He was already too deep to walk away. And somewhere deep inside Lyra's heart, beneath all her caution and fear, a feeling she had never known before began to grow. It scared her more than anything else because for the first time, the alien girl who came to Earth to observe humans was starting to fall for one. The days grew colder, and the air in the city carried the faint smell of winter. Jason and Lyra's friendship had turned into something deeper, something that neither of them could explain. They spent hours talking, sometimes about little things, sometimes about dreams that didn't make sense. But even in their closeness, Jason could feel a quiet wall between them, an invisible line she never let him cross. Lyra smiled often, but her eyes always carried a shadow. She laughed at his stories but never told any of her own. It was like her life began only from the moment they met. Jason noticed, but he didn't want to push her. Still, the questions began to fill his mind. Who was she before she came here? Why did she never talk about her past? One night, he decided to visit her. She had gone home early from the bookstore, saying she wasn't feeling well. He wanted to check on her, maybe bring soup, maybe just make sure she wasn't alone. Her apartment was only a few blocks away, a small building with flickering lights and narrow stairs. When he reached her door, he knocked softly. Lyra, it's me, Jason. No answer. He hesitated, then tried the handle. It turned easily. The door was unlocked. His heart quickened as he stepped inside. The room was quiet, almost too quiet. The curtains were drawn, and the only light came from a faint blue glow coming from the other room. Jason called again. Lyra? No response. He walked toward the light. The door to the next room was slightly open. He pushed it, and what he saw made his breath stop. It wasn't a bedroom. It looked like a laboratory. Screens filled the walls, displaying strange symbols and star maps. On one table lay metal devices shaped like orbs, softly humming. In the middle stood a large glass-like SQR, showing a rotating image of Earth surrounded by lines of alien writing. Jason stepped closer, unable to believe his eyes. He reached out to touch the screen, and it changed instantly, now showing a moving image of Lyra. But not the Lyra he knew. Her hair was longer, glowing faintly. Her skin shimmered like silver, and her eyes, bright, golden, and not human at all, stared back from the display. She wasn't human. Jason staggered back, heart pounding. The truth hit him like lightning. Before he could move, a voice behind him said quietly, "You shouldn't be here." He turned sharply. Lyra stood at the doorway, her expression unreadable. I was worried about you," Jason stammered. "The door was open, You saw, didn't you?" She interrupted softly. Her voice was calm, but her hands trembled slightly. Jason swallowed hard. "You're not human." There was silence. Then she nodded. "No, I'm not." The air felt heavy, thick with unspoken fear. Jason didn't know whether to run or to stay. Lyra took a slow step toward him. "I didn't want you to find out like this," she said, her voice breaking. "I didn't mean to lie. I just wanted to live. Quietly. To watch. To understand." "Understand what?" Jason asked. "Your kind," she whispered. "Humans. I was sent here to study you, to learn about what makes you fight, laugh, cry, love. My people don't understand emotion. They think it's weakness." Jason stared at her. "And what do you think?" Lyra met his eyes. For a moment, her human form flickered, and he saw the faint silver glow beneath her skin. "I think they're wrong," she said. "I think emotion is what makes you strong." Jason took a deep breath, still trying to make sense of everything. Why hide it? Why live like this? "Because if they find me," she said softly, "they'll take me back. And they'll erase everything I've learned here, including you." Her voice cracked on the last word, and Jason felt something twist in his chest. Fear, confusion, pity, all at once. Lyra looked away. "You weren't supposed to be part of this, Jason. I wanted to protect you." He took a step closer, slowly, carefully. "You think I'd turn you in?" She shook her head. "No, but they might come for you too. You're safer if you don't know me." Jason looked at her for a long moment. "Too late for that," he said softly. "I already do." Lyra's eyes glistened with tears, reflecting that same soft blue light that filled the room. She didn't speak again, but something passed between them, a silent promise that neither would forget. That night changed everything. Jason walked home under the same winter sky, his mind spinning with questions and fear. But beneath all that confusion, one truth burned quietly inside him. He didn't care what she was. Human or alien, Lyra was still Lyra. And somehow he knew this was only the beginning. The next few days felt heavier than usual. Jason couldn't stop thinking about what he had seen in Lyra's apartment. The screens, the symbols, and her glowing, unearthly form. His mind was filled with questions that had no simple answers. He still went to work, still smiled when his coworkers joked, but inside, everything felt different. He had uncovered a truth that no human was meant to find. Yet even with the fear in his heart, he couldn't stay away from her. Lyra didn't come to the bookstore after that night. The lights were off, the doors locked. Jason walked by every evening hoping to see her through the glass, but she never appeared. He wanted to believe she was safe, but a quiet worry grew stronger each day. Finally, one evening, he found her waiting outside his apartment. She stood under the dim streetlight, rain glistening on her coat, her silver hair faintly visible beneath the hood. "Lyra," he breathed, his voice a mix of relief and confusion. "I shouldn't be here," she said softly. "But I had to see you." Jason hesitated before inviting her in. Once inside, she stood quietly, her eyes moving across his small, messy living room as if she was trying to memorize it. The silence between them was heavy, filled with all the words they didn't know how to start. "Why didn't you tell me?" Jason finally asked. "After everything we shared, why hide it?" Lyra's eyes shimmered with sadness. "Because I wanted you to see me as one of you. I wanted to feel human, even if it was a lie." He frowned. "You don't have to lie to me, I want to understand." She took a deep breath as if steadying herself. Then she spoke, her voice trembling but clear. "I came from a world far from here, Jason. My people, the Aran, they watch from the stars. We study civilizations that are still growing, learning, changing. We are not supposed to interfere. But I was different. I wanted to feel what I studied. I wanted to know why humans cry when they're sad, or smile even when they're hurt." Jason listened, frozen. "So you came here to live among us?" She nodded. "I took this form and lived quietly. I wanted to observe without being seen. But then I met you. And everything I learned in books and reports, none of it prepared me for what I felt." Her words were soft, but they hit him like thunder. Jason had thought he was the one drawn into something unknown. But it was Lyra who had risked everything just to feel human emotion. He stepped closer, searching her face. "You said your people don't feel emotion. Then why do you?" "Because I stayed too long," she whispered. "Because I let myself care." Jason could see the pain in her eyes, real, raw, and deeply human. "And now?" he asked quietly. "What happens to you now?" Lyra looked away, her voice trembling. "They will come for me soon. They've probably already detected the exposure. I broke too many rules. I wasn't supposed to reveal myself to anyone." Fear flashed through Jason's mind. What do they do to someone who breaks the rules? "They erase everything," she said. "Memories, identity, sometimes even the mind. They will take me back and everything I've learned here will be gone, including you." The words hit him like ice. He wanted to speak, to tell her she was wrong, but his throat tightened. Lyra turned toward the window, looking at the rain. "When I first came to Earth, I thought humans were fragile. You live short lives filled with pain and struggle, but I was wrong. You're strong in ways we don't understand. You keep moving forward even when everything hurts. You love, even when you know it might end." Jason felt a lump rise in his throat. "That's what makes us human," he said quietly. She turned back to him, her eyes soft. "And that's why I wanted to stay." For a long moment, neither spoke. The sound of rain filled the room like a soft heartbeat. Then Lyra reached out and took his hand. Her skin was cool, but her touch was gentle. "I'm sorry for lying," she whispered. "But if they take me, I want you to remember this. I never wanted to hurt you. You showed me what it means to truly live." Jason gripped her hand tighter. "They won't take you," he said fiercely. "I don't care who they are or where they come from. You're not alone anymore." Tears shimmered in her golden eyes, catching the faint light. For the first time since she arrived on Earth, Lyra believed his words. She had always feared discovery, but now she realized something stronger than fear. Trust. In that quiet, rain-soaked night, the human and the alien stood together, bound not by secrets, but by the fragile thread of understanding. And though both knew danger was coming, they also knew one thing for sure. They would face it together. The calm before the storm didn't last long. A week after Lyra revealed her truth, strange things began to happen around Jason's apartment. Drones appeared in the night sky, silent, black machines that hovered too long before vanishing into the clouds. His phone glitched constantly, screens flickered, and sometimes he could feel the faint hum of unseen energy in the air. Lyra grew quieter with each passing day. She barely slept, always watching from the window as if waiting for something or someone. Jason tried to stay strong, but the tension was eating away at him too. He didn't understand the power of the beings she feared, but the look in her eyes told him enough. They were unstoppable. One cold night, Jason found her sitting on the floor, surrounded by glowing symbols projected from one of her alien devices. The light painted her face in soft blue tones, and for a moment, she looked otherworldly again. "They found me," she whispered without turning around. Jason froze. "What do you mean?" "They detected the signal when I told you the truth. I tried to hide it, but it's too late. They're coming." Jason's chest tightened. "Then we'll run. We'll go somewhere far, somewhere they can't find you." Lyra gave a sad smile. "You can't run from the stars, Jason. They'll always find me." But Jason refused to give up. "I don't care. I won't let them take you. You said your people erase memories, right? I won't let them erase you." Lyra looked at him, her eyes filled with pain. "You don't understand. If they see you with me, they'll take you too." "Then let them try," he said firmly. "Because I'm not leaving you." For a moment, neither spoke. The air felt thick with fear and love tangled together. Then Lyra reached out, placing a trembling hand on his cheek. "Humans, you never stop fighting, even when you have no chance." Jason smiled faintly. "Maybe that's what makes us human." Before she could answer, the lights in the apartment flickered, then went out completely. The room fell into darkness except for the faint glow from her device. The air buzzed with static energy. Lyra stood instantly, every muscle tense. "They're here," she whispered. Jason grabbed her hand. Then we faced them together. A sharp hum filled the air as a pulse of blue light flashed outside. The window shattered and 3 tall figures appeared, cloaked in shifting metallic armor. Their eyes glowed white, cold and unfeeling. They moved like shadows, smooth and silent. "Lyra of Aaron," one of them spoke in a voice that vibrated through the walls. "You have violated the observation laws. You will come with us." Lyra stepped forward, defiant. "I won't let you erase what I've learned." The leader tilted its head. "Your emotions have corrupted your purpose. You are no longer one of us." Jason moved beside her even though his legs trembled. "She's not corrupted. She's alive. She's more human than any of you could ever understand." The alien turned its glowing gaze toward him. "Human, this is not your concern. The moment I met her, it became my concern," Jason said, voice shaking but strong. A beam of light shot from one of the alien devices, striking the floor near Jason's feet. The heat burned through the air, but he didn't step back. Instead, he stood his ground, his body shaking with adrenaline. Lyra's eyes widened in panic. "Jason, stop! They'll kill you! I don't care!" he shouted. "I won't watch them take you away." For the first time, something flickered in the alien's expression. Confusion, perhaps even curiosity. They weren't used to resistance. Humans were meant to obey, to fear. But Jason's heart burned too fiercely for fear. Lyra turned back to them, voice trembling with emotion. "If you want me, you'll have to go through him." The aliens paused. Their lights dimmed slightly, and the leader finally spoke again. Quieter now. "You have chosen your path. We will not destroy you, but this world will forget you." Before either could respond, a wave of blue light burst across the room. Jason felt the air leave his lungs as everything blurred. The walls, the floor, even Lyra's hand slipping from his. He tried to hold on, tried to speak her name, but the sound dissolved into silence. Then everything went dark. When Jason opened his eyes again, he was lying in the same room, but it was empty. No lights, no symbols, no sign of Lyra. Only the faint smell of ozone and the shattered glass on the floor. He whispered her name, but no one answered, and yet deep in his heart, something told him she was still out there, somewhere among the stars, still fighting, still remembering, because humans never let go of the ones they love. And maybe, just maybe, neither did she. The morning after the attack was silent. The world around Jason moved as if nothing had happened, but his heart felt hollow. Lyra was gone. Her devices, her lights, her voice, all had vanished like a dream at sunrise. Only the broken glass and scorch marks on the floor proved it was real. He sat there for hours, staring at the empty space where she once stood. He didn't know how long he stayed like that. Long enough for the sun to set again, for the city to fade into a sea of lights. Every second without her felt like a lifetime, but Jason was human. And humans, no matter how much they lose, always keep moving. He began searching for answers. He replayed every conversation they ever had, every small clue she might have left behind. He visited the bookstore where they met, hoping for a sign, but it was abandoned. The shelves were bare, the dust thick. It was as if Lyra had never existed. Still, he refused to believe that. "They can't erase her," he muttered. "Not from me." He started researching everything he could find. Astronomy, strange signals, unexplained disappearances. He learned about the hidden frequencies that traveled through the upper atmosphere, frequencies humans couldn't detect without advanced instruments. Maybe, just maybe, one of them carried a message from her. Weeks turned into months. Jason became obsessed, working through the nights, drinking too much coffee, sleeping too little. His friends thought he was losing his mind, but he didn't care. He wasn't chasing madness, he was chasing a promise. One night, while sitting by his computer, his speakers crackled. A faint hum filled the room, low and rhythmic, like a heartbeat wrapped in static. Then a soft voice whispered through the noise, familiar, fragile. "Jason." He froze, his hands trembled as he turned up the volume. "Lyra?" The signal was weak, full of distortion, but the voice was hers. "Jason, if you can hear this, I am safe for now. They moved me to the outer observation station. I'm not supposed to contact you, but I couldn't let you think I was gone." His throat tightened. He felt tears forming in his eyes. "Lyra, I'm here!" I never stopped looking. Her voice broke through again, faint but filled with emotion. "You shouldn't have remembered me. They erased everything connected to me. But somehow your mind resisted. You remembered what they couldn't erase, your heart." Jason laughed through his tears. "Guess humans are stubborn that way." Lyra's soft laugh came through the static, distant and warm. "Yes, stubborn and beautiful. You taught me that emotion isn't weakness, it's power. My people will never understand, but I do, because of you." "Then come back," he whispered. "Please come home." Her voice wavered. "I can't. If I return, they'll destroy everything around me. But know this, Jason. What I learned here will live on. I've started sending signals to others like me, telling them what I felt. Maybe one day they will come not as observers, but as friends." The connection flickered. Jason's chest ached as he tried to hold on to her voice. "Lyra, don't go. Just stay a little longer." Silence. Then one final whisper came through. So soft he almost missed it. "You showed me what humanity truly means. And I'll never forget you." The signal died. The room fell quiet again. Jason sat there, tears running down his face, but his heart felt alive. She was out there among the stars, still remembering him, still believing in the strength of humanity. He went to the window and looked up at the night sky. The stars seemed brighter than before, and one of them, just one, flashed faintly like a heartbeat in the dark. He smiled. "I see you, Lyra." And for the first time since she left, he didn't feel alone. Because deep inside, he knew their connection had become something greater than distance or time. It was proof that emotion, the thing her people called weakness, was humanity's greatest strength. And in that quiet moment, Jason realized something simple and beautiful. She had come to study humans. But in the end, she had become one. Months had passed since Jason last heard Lyra's voice. The faint signal she had sent that night never returned, but he kept the memory alive. Every evening he would look at the stars from his small rooftop, whispering her name softly as if the wind might carry it to her. Life had slowly begun to move again. Jason returned to work, talked to people, smiled sometimes, but a part of him always remained with her. The memory of her laughter, her curious eyes, her gentle way of asking about human feelings, they lingered like a song he could never forget. One winter evening, as snow began to fall, Jason sat beside his computer, staring at the same receiver he had built months ago. It was quiet now, covered in dust, but something inside him urged him to turn it on one last time. Maybe it was foolish, maybe just hope. But humans had always been good at hoping. He powered it up, watching the old lights flicker. The static filled the room again, soft and constant. Minutes passed. Nothing. He sighed, leaning back in his chair. Then suddenly a single tone broke through. Not Lyra's voice, but a pulse, steady, rhythmic like a heartbeat. The monitor flashed with a series of coded bursts. Jason's eyes widened as he recognized the pattern. It wasn't random. It was a message. He worked all night decoding it, his hands shaking with excitement. When he finally translated the signal, his breath caught in his throat. The message was simple, almost childlike, but it carried more emotion than any words ever could. Human heart. Strongest light, Jason smiled. It was her. He didn't need proof, he could feel it. Somewhere out there, Lyra was sending this message to him. Maybe not directly, maybe through the universe itself, but it was real. He leaned closer to the screen, his voice trembling. You made it, Lyra, you really did. In the days that followed, that same signal began appearing across multiple observatories on Earth. Scientists were confused. The message didn't match any known communication frequency, and yet it carried a repeating pulse. Some said it was a new kind of pulsar. Others claimed it was interference. But Jason knew the truth. It wasn't just a signal, it was her message to humanity. Soon, the world began to notice. The phrase human heart, strongest light, appeared across news headlines. People around the globe started sharing it, painting it on walls, printing it on banners. It became a symbol of hope, a reminder that love and emotion were not weakness. They were strength. Jason never told anyone about Lyra. He kept her secret, just as she had wanted. But deep inside, he felt proud. She had risked everything to share something beautiful with both their worlds. One night, Jason stood on the same rooftop where it all began. The snow was falling again, silent and soft. He looked up at the sky, and among the countless stars, one flickered brighter than the rest. The same star he had watched months ago. Lyra, he whispered, you kept your promise. He closed his eyes and imagined her out there standing beneath a different sky, surrounded by her people, teaching them what she had learned on Earth. He imagined her telling them about laughter, about tears, about how fragile and strong the human heart could be. A small smile touched his lips. You didn't just learn from us, he said softly. You changed us too. As he stood there, a warm breeze brushed past him, carrying a faint sound, almost like a whisper. It was so soft he could barely hear it, but he knew that voice anywhere. Jason, thank you. He opened his eyes, smiling through the tears. The wind carried the last of her words into the night, and he felt peace wash over him. The stars above shimmered brighter, and for a moment the sky seemed alive. Jason realized then that humanity's story was